Welcome to Icon Fetch. I am Tony Peters. Now, without Vanilla Fudge, arguably there would be no Led Zeppelin. The Long Island Quartet is best known for taking the Supremes hit You Keep Me Hanging On, turning it inside out, and pushing it back up the charts in 1967. But the Fudge did more. Through musical prowess and cranked amps, they offered up a sonic assault the world had never known before. Bands like Zeppelin and Deep Purple were certainly paying attention. At the heart of the band was a gifted wild man of a drummer named Carmine Appice. Though Fudge only lasted a few years, their impact can be felt even today. After Fudge, Carmine was involved with a variety of musicians and projects, from bands like Cactus, King Kobra, and Blue Murder, to supergroups like Beck, Bogert, and Appice, to backing Rod Stewart through his biggest years, even drumming for Pink Floyd. But one of the projects Carmine is most proud of is Guitar Zeus, a pair of albums that featured arguably the greatest lineup of guitar players ever for one project. Ted Nugent, Leslie West, Yngwie Malmsteen, Bruce Kulick of Kiss, Zakk Wylde, Slash, Queen's Brian May, Richie Sambora, Neil Schon of Journey, and that's only about half the lineup. But because of poor distribution and almost zero label support, this phenomenal album quickly disappeared. Now Carmine is reissuing Guitar Zeus with even some newly recorded tracks as well, a total of 32 overall, and it features some of the finest drumming of Carmine's career. And to talk about it, we welcome in Carmine Appice. Carmine, how are you, man?
Hey, dude, how are you? That was a great intro.
So, well, tell me about this. You know, I worked in rock radio in Dayton for many years during the 90s, and you know, we played all the big rock records in town. I don't remember even hearing much about this. What was going on kind of behind the scenes?
It never was released in America in the 90s. It was released in Japan and Europe and all over the world, really, and it sold really well. The first one I did was in 1995. It came out in 96. And I did a show with some of the guitar players and the core band, me, Tony Franklin, and Kelly Keeling. At the NAMM show, we did a show and played 6 or 8 of their songs. That I just found a tape of it. I'm just having digitized. It sounds really great too. So, you know, it makes me want to play these songs live. But it never came out in America. Never got a deal in the 90s. I did get a deal in 2005 with a European label that was distributing in America. As soon as it came out, they went out of business.
Oh, man.
All they did was put it up on the YouTube, and that was about it. And up on iTunes, and then they went out of business. So any money that was generated, I don't know where it went, you know. And then in 2009, I put out, I found a label called Fuel that was doing some stuff with me with Vanilla Fudge, and I did a whole catalog deal with him. He just released it as Conquering Heroes, a double set CD, because I had done Guitar Zeus 1, Guitar Zeus 2. They each had about 12 songs on it with all different guitar players. And then I did Guitar Zeus Japan, Guitar Zeus Korea, and, you know, altogether, you know, I sold 150,000 units around the world, all through the 90s, into the 2000s. And then this Conquering Heroes didn't do anything. They didn't do anything either. You know, my dream of it was to come out the way it's come out now, where I'm doing PR for it. I've got, you know, a PR person working. I got 2 radio people working it. I got a social media person working it. You know, and at least now people are getting aware of it. You know,
right?
And before, nobody knew about it. I mean, it was like, in Europe, when I go to Europe and play shows there, I would sign Guitar Zeus records. In Japan, I would sign Guitar Zeus records, but not over here. Nobody has it. Very rare. Somebody bought it as an import, you know.
Right.
But, so now we're releasing it as a fully digitized version on Spotify. You can get all 32 versions of the songs, which includes some new ones. And on iTunes, iTunes is closing in a couple of months from what I understand.
Really?
Yeah, because nobody's doing downloads anymore.
Right.
You know,
Yeah.
nobody's doing downloads. It's all streaming, physical CDs and vinyl. So we're doing CDs and vinyl as well. So I have a small label called Rocker Records. So I released the CD versions, and which you'll be able to get on Amazon and all those kind of places. And we're printing up the vinyls right now. But it's unfortunate. It goes from 32 tracks on digital to 12 tracks on a CD. I don't want to release a 3-song, 3-disc CD. You know,
Right.
it's crazy.
Yeah. That's cost prohibitive.
So I did like a best of, and then in the vinyl, same thing. You could only get 8 on a vinyl.
Right.
So I had to go down to 8. But if it does okay, you know, then maybe later on in a year or so, I'll do a whole box set of vinyls or something, you know.
Sure.
Make it really, really interesting.
Yeah, absolutely.
So there's 5 new tracks. One of them called Mother Space, which is the lead track, and we just released the lyric video on it. Mother Space. You can find out all more information at guitarzeus.net. You know, we'll send you to my website, and then it has a whole section on Guitar Zeus. And it's a track that I found the 24-track tapes of, and I had them digitized, and when I listened to it, it had everything on it but the right guitar player. So I called up Bumblefoot, you know, Ron Bumblefoot Thigh, and he said he would play on it, so I got him to play on it, and then he had to leave to go out with Sons of Apollo. Sons of Apollo. He had a group with Billy Sheehan and Mike Portnoy and all that. So they went out on the road, and I needed some more guitar work done on it, so I had my mixer, Stevie D, put some more heavy guitars on it and some fill guitars. So to distinguish Bumblefoot from Steve, we put Steve on the right and left of the mix and Bumblefoot down the center.
Nice,
you know?
Nice. Okay, cool.
Yeah. And then Steve mixed it, and I gave him the old mixes of the other tracks to try and get it in the same ballpark mix-wise and frequencies and all that. He did a great job, so we released that as the first one, and so far so good. People are, you know, people are digging it. You know, everybody that I talked to that have heard it. Have you heard it, right?
Oh, yeah, absolutely, man. And the thing I have to say is, why don't you talk a little bit about assembling this, you know, the rhythm section, basically, you know, that really what keeps it together, man.
Yeah. Well, the idea came from 1992 when I had a group with called Mother's Army with Joe Lynn Turner, Bob Daisley, and Jeff Watson. And Jeff Watson just came out of Night Ranger, and he got an immediate solo deal. And, you know, I was trying to get a solo deal at that time for like 10 years. I did one in 82, and I wanted to do another one. And I said, oh, man, you know, it's so hard for a drummer to get a solo deal. You're a guitar player. You come right out of a band, you get a solo deal in a minute. I said, maybe I should do a guitar album, you know, kidding around. And we were going to call that band Mother's Army Zeus. I said, maybe I'll call it Guitar Gods. I said, no, I'll call it Guitar Zeus. I was kidding, you know, with the guys. And then when I went to bed that night, I said, you know, that's a great idea. I could do a guitar album with all different friends of mine playing solos and stuff, you know, and I can, you know, get things done that way, you know. Maybe I can get a deal.
Right.
So I had the idea. It took me 2 years to find somebody that could put the deal together because, you know, I was talking to different people, and they were saying, well, you know, at the time I talked to Brian May. He was doing a clinic at the same store I was doing a clinic on a clinic day back in the early 90s. And, you know, Freddie had passed away already, so Queen wasn't together. And I said to him, hey, dude, you want to do play on a track? If I give you a track on my solo album? He goes, oh, I'd love to. Same with Ted Nugent. And then I asked the guys in King's X, because I know they were big Cactus fans and Carmine fans. So I said to them, would they do it? And they said yes. So now I had like commitments from, you know, what I would call the musician domino effect. You know, once I got them, the domino effect took hold. You know, like so this guy Warren Wyatt got the deal in 1995, and it was out of Japan. So the first ones I got was Brian, Ted Nugent, and the guys from King's X. And they were drawing cards for other musicians, you know, because all the guitar players love Brian May and Ted Nugent. So they said, oh, if they're on it, yeah, I'd like to do it. So
Sure.
if I call somebody, who you got on it? I got Brian May, Ted Nugent, the guys from King's X. Oh, yeah, I'd like to do it, you know. So, and then like Kelly Keeling was my singer and rhythm guitar player. I found him because he was on the second Blue Murder album, and when I needed someone to co-write with, I went to his house and I listened to his songs, and I know he was talented. We went to Japan together and done a little tour. So I loved his songs and his ideas, and I already knew I wanted Tony Franklin on bass because, you know, what we were going for was sort of Soundgarden meets Blue Murder meets the Beatles kind of sound.
Nice.
You know?
What a combination. That's cool. Yeah.
Yeah, because in the mid-'90s, you know, the grunge was king, and I liked it. I liked the grunge because it was so different from the glam stuff of the '80s, which was really boring musically, and you know, but this stuff had time changes in it, had really cool chords, cool tunings, you know. So that's what we did. Kelly had his own tuning that when he gave me the tuning, I wrote a bunch of songs on my guitar, you know, just from that tuning, you know, and. So that's how the whole rhythm section, everything came together. And little by little, we gathered everybody on it, and everybody heard who was on it. And then the other person said, yeah, I'll do it, you know. And little did I know that I had, you know, 12, 13 tracks with all different people on it.
Nice.
You know?
Now, yeah, so, I mean, this is mid-'90s. This is like I mean, you know, the Internet's just kind of taken off here. So how did you, I mean, you know, that's got to be tough to coordinate the schedules of all these different guitar players and stuff.
Well, it was done old school. Like Brian May, I had to make a 24-track slave copy of his song and send it to him by FedEx, you know, which cost about $100 in those days.
Right.
Right. And then he would do it and FedEx it back. I did the same with Steve Moss. For Yngwie, I actually flew to Florida with the tape, and we did that, and I played on one of his tracks, and he played on my track. And Ted Nugent did the same thing. I flew to Michigan, went in the studio with him with a 24-track slave, and I did the same thing with, I think I went the same trip from Michigan to Houston, Texas, and I got the guys from King's X on there.
Nice.
Right?
Nice.
So, and then some of the other guys were like Steve Morse, I sent the tape to, 24-track. I believe Paul Gilbert at the time, the ADATs were coming into style.
Right.
So I sent him an ADAT. He did it on ADAT. And pretty much everybody else did it in the L.A. studio I was working in.
Nice. Okay.
You know, Slash and Neil Schon and Elliot Easton and Jennifer Patton. I did send a tape to Leslie West as well. So it was like, I would say half and half, you know?
Right. Well, you know, one of the things that I think is really cool about this project is you get to hear kind of the different side of some of these guitar players. Like, you don't think of, like, Elliot Easton as a screaming guitar player. I mean, his stuff is usually just kind of tasty with the cars, you know. Or, like, Denny Lane is on here, you know what I mean? Like, you give these guys kind of a different light.
Yeah, well, that was the idea. For instance, Brian May sent two solos. He sent a regular solo and a wah-wah solo. Now, I've never heard Brian May play a wah-wah solo.
Right.
On any of his records. I said, I'm going to use the wah-wah solo.
Right, right.
And when I did Yngwie, I said, Yngwie, play kind of bluesy, you know?
Right.
And he played different than he normally plays on his records. Same thing with Ted. Ted played better on this record that I think he's played on all his records, after the Stranglehold and all that stuff.
Right.
And because he had a killer rhythm section and a great song. We tried to make every song great,
right.
And we tried to put people on and matched up different people. Like Mick Mars wanted to play with Edgar Winter.
Under the moon and sun.
Under the Moon and Sun. So I said to Mick, do you ever play slide? He goes, yeah, I play some slide, because I never heard Mick play slide on any Motley Crue record, right? So I had him play slide, and he did a good job, really good job, with Edgar.
Yeah, I
mean, Yngwie wanted to sing, he wanted to be on the track with Doug Pinnick from King's X. I put those two together, and it was really an interesting project, and the great thing about this record is it's not a tribute record. So this is the only record out there, that was recorded, a non-tribute record, to somebody like a Jeff Beck or a Van Halen or something, that has all these guitar player guests. It's all original new songs, except for Do You Think I'm Sexy with Pat Travers and myself, which I co-wrote anyway, but we changed the whole arrangement of that.
Right.
So it's a totally original album.
Well, let me ask you about that.
Really great song.
Yeah, Do You Think I'm Sexy?
If you want my body, if you think I'm sexy, come on, sugar, let me know.
Was that something that you had an idea that you were going to do, or was that something you're messing around in the studio and it just kind of happens?
Well, it was something that we did live. In 1999, I went to Japan with Tim Bogan. We played with this guy, Cha. Cha is on there as well. He's on a song called Angels. And he's the Jeff Beck of Japan. He's a pretty big name in Japan. And he would normally draw in Tokyo like 3,000 people. When we played as Cha Bogan with the piece, we did 12,000 people in Tokyo because of the BBA connection,
Right.
Which is Beck Bogan the piece. We were really huge in Japan. And so we were messing around with an arrangement of Do You Think I'm Sexy, which had like this 9/8 intro and all that. And I had done it on a 2001 version of Vanilla Fudge album called The Return. We did Do You Think I'm Sexy on there. Yeah, but then I've been doing that version of the song at clinics, but the original version was never released on a record that you could buy them.
Nice. And now it is. So that's cool.
Now it is.
So I'm looking down this list on Guitar Zeus, and then I come across a couple of names that you wouldn't normally associate with playing guitar, like John McEnroe,
right?
Steven Seagal.
Right.
So
that was fun. But I ran into John McEnroe at a company that we were going to do like a best of Guitar Zeus and do an 800 number, which never really happened, but it's still probably a good way to do this thing, now I think about it.
Sure.
And I told him about the album. He said, "Oh man, I play guitar." I said, "Oh, you want to be on the track?" He said, "Sure." So I brought him in the studio, and he's on the track Stash, and he plays rhythm guitar on it. He
Nice.
play lead.
Right.
And when I got Richie Sambora on it, I was hanging with Richie, and Richie said, "Hey, I'm doing this charity event in Malibu. Why don't you come and you can jam?" I said, "Who else can be there?" So, me and Steven Seagal. And I said, "Okay." So I went and did that. And I was talking to Steve, and Steve said, "Oh, you put Richie on that album?" I said, "Yeah." He said, "Oh man." I said, "Hey, you want to play on the track?" He said, "Sure." So all the tracks were already done at that point, and I didn't know what to do. So I said, I got Seymour Duncan, who is a manufacturer of pickups, who was a great player, and I met him when I was with Jeff Beck, and we've been friends since '73. So, I had also in my career, I had a video instructional company, and I did a video with him about about pickups and how to wind the pickup, how to put it in your guitar, and all that stuff. So we were friends. I said, "Hey, Seymour, you want to play on the track on my Guitar Zeus record?" there'll just be a blues. It'll be me, you, and Steven Seagal. He says, oh, yeah, that sounds like fun. So we went in. I just played snare drum, and I put those two guys together in the studio, and we just played the blues.
Man.
We call it cheesy blues, you know, and it's funny. So that was fun. You know, he came in the studio in a white limo, and he gets out with his entourage, and he's wearing his Nehru shirt on, you know, and jacket or whatever it was, like a Paisley Nehru jacket, you know, with a white shirt underneath. He looked like he's right out of one of his movies. You know?
That's awesome. That's awesome.
He was a nice guy. He was a nice guy. We hung out a few times, you know. I've seen him in different places and hung out, you know. It's good.
Yeah, and I mean, if you look back, it's got to be, I mean, now that you've had, you know, time away from this project where you know, when you recorded in the mid-'90s, I mean, this is, like you said, I don't think there is another project with this many great guitar players, even tribute albums, I don't know if you can name. This is a phenomenal lineup of the best guitar players ever, you know.
It is, and thinking back now when I'm doing it, I said, I can't believe I did this. You know?
Right.
Because it's one of the, you know, for me, you know, I produced it, I co-wrote it, I played on it, I put most of the guys together, I put the core band together. I found, you know, Kelly, who's a co-writer, Tony co-wrote some songs too. You know, I mean, it was an amazing time. Both records had really great drum sounds, and some of the best playing I've done on record as far as progressive playing. You know, we had time signatures in it, we had great vocals, we had weird sections. We had the great guitar players, great bass playing from Tony Franklin. Kelly's a tremendous singer. He's got so many different voices. Plays keyboard, he plays bass, he plays guitar. You know, tunings. It was just unique all the way around, you know?
Right, absolutely. Now, I mean, when you having to put some of these in your current set kind of thing, you going to play some of these live?
Well, I think I'm going to do something, one or two of them in my show with my brother.
Okay.
I'm going to tell Vinny, you know, maybe we could do a Last in Line show, Last in Line song, you know, and do, you know, a Guitar Zeus or two song.
Right.
You know?
Nice.
Because what we do now is like we do Black Sabbath, we do Dio, and we do the heavy version of Rod, and we do Bark at the Moon, we do Crazy Train, we do more Dio. So I think we can do one or two of Guitar Zeus and one or two of his Last in Line songs to help sell our albums, you know.
Right.
We're going to start doing shows again in July.
Nice.
You know, and,
right.
It's all good.
Cool. Now, you know, at the beginning of the show, I mentioned, you know, if there was no Vanilla Fudge, there might not have been Led Zeppelin. I mean, you guys were way ahead of the curve kind of thing. You know, yet, I mean, it's like, you know, it's very famous. There's certain people that are in the Hall of Fame, certain people that aren't. I mean, but in a way, you guys kind of have the last laugh because a lot of these bands aren't together anymore. And look, Vanilla Fudge, you guys are still around.
Yeah, I mean, we should have been at Rock Hall of Fame a long time ago, as far as I'm concerned. You know, I thought it was about influences and what you've done in the business. You know, at one point, you know, we were really big. You know, we had 3 albums on the charts, a top 5 single. You know, and we were playing arenas all around the country. You know, we opened up special guests for Hendrix, you know, right before him. And, you know, we did equal bill with The Who, and we did equal bill with the Cream and all that stuff, you know. We should have been in the Hall of Fame because we influenced so many people. I mean, you know, Led Zeppelin, the Deep Purple, and Styx, and you know, Yes, and the list goes on, you know. Even some new bands like Greta Van Fleet was influenced by Vanilla Fudge. You know, me and Vanilla Fudge. You know, so it's like we never got in. I don't think we'll ever get in, tell you the truth, because now the people running it are so young that they don't even know who Vanilla Fudge is.
Right.
You know, but you know, we did a lot of firsts, and it was great. You know, it was great being in the music business at that time. because everything was new. I remember when we first got that Led Zeppelin first album before anybody, because they wanted to tour with us, and I was blown away by John Bonham and his foot. And when I met him, he said he got that for me. I said, I don't do that. And he pointed out somewhere on one of my records, I think it was on the Renaissance record, where I did it once or twice in a row. And he just did it repetitively and just kept it going and did his own thing with it.
Right.
Which confirmed what Joe Morello, a great jazz drummer, said. Nobody has it all. We all steal from each other and make it our own.
Right. Yeah.
And that's what he did. And it was awesome. And I helped him get his drum endorsement. He got the same duplicate set of drums as mine. And when you took away the second bass drum, it became the Led Zeppelin drum set. So I was involved in rock history there. That will never change. It's always, that's the way it is.
Right.
But there was some point in my life where I couldn't talk about it because people would think I was an ego and out kind of guy, saying that John Bonham learned everything from me, which I never said that.
Right.
But then when a book came out called Thunder of Drums, it explained how John used to listen to me, and when he came home from that first tour, he was all excited that he met me and hung out with me, and I got him his Ludwig endorsement, and him and Cozy Powell were hanging out together and we're excited about it because Cozy was another one that I influenced, and we were friends also.
Right. Right.
It's just crazy how it's like, to me now, it seems like another lifetime.
Right. Yeah.
So long ago.
Right.
It's part of my history, but it's, I've been talking about it so long, but it's like another lifetime,
Right. Absolutely. Now, I want to ask you about, when Vanilla Fudge broke up, you and Tim Bogert were supposed to do a band with Jeff Beck and Rod Stewart. Is that right?
Yeah, it was going to be Cactus.
Wow.
And then Rod Stewart, we got to understand at the time, Jeff Beck wasn't that big yet. Jeff Beck we played a show with Jeff Beck, and we headlined over Jeff Beck.
Wow. Okay. Right.
And Rod was with him at the time, so Rod Stewart was just known for being in the Jeff Beck group, and Jeff Beck was known for the Jeff Beck group and the Yardbirds, But I've been involved with the Jeff Beck career for years and years. Even his switch over to jazz rock and the People Get Ready thing that he did with Rod, I was heavily involved in all that stuff. I never got the credit, but all that stuff's in my book, Stick It, My Life is Sex, Drums, and Rock and Roll. Listen, Rod wasn't known yet.
Right.
And he didn't want to work with Jeff because Jeff and him had some financial problems. And so Jeff was just going to work me and Tim. We were going to get another singer, And then Jeff was going to schedule to come over here, and then he got in a car wreck, and that put it back 2 years. And in that 2 years, we had broken up Vanilla Fudge. So what are we going to do now? So we said, well, let's get some other guys and continue the Cactus concept. So we did that with Jim McCarty from Detroit Wheels and Buddy Miles Express and Rusty Day from the Amboy Dukes. And it was sort of a super group, but not as super as it would have been with Jeff Beck and Rod.
Right.
But it did well. It influenced Van Halen, AC/DC, King's X, Whitesnake, Ronnie Dio. Next year is our 50th anniversary, and we're trying to put some big packages together, including a 5-camera video shoot of the Isle of Wight, with Cactus at the Isle of Wight in 1970.
Nice. Wow.
Yeah, so
that's cool.
There's a lot of interesting things going on there.
Nice.
Vanilla Fudge is still working. I got Cactus doing recording. We probably do some more shows this year. I probably can do some gigs with King Kobra if I want,
Right.
And and then there's all these gigs going on this year of Woodstock.
Yes.
So we're on a few of those already, and
nice.
Starting like in June, it gets busier till the end of the year. And last year I played all year with the Rascals.
Yeah.
That was fun.
Nice. Yeah, Felix Cavalier's great, man. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm still having fun.
That's the way it needs to be. Awesome. And website CarmineAppice.net. That's right. Website.
.com.net. I own both of them. And
okay.
GuitarZeus.net goes right to my website for more information on Guitar Zeus. And anyone that wants to get a Guitar Zeus record autographed by me can get it on my website.
Absolutely. Good deal, man. All right. Well, the new project from Carmine Appice is Guitar Zeus, and we wish you luck on it, man. All right?
Thank you so much, man. See you soon.